Hey everybody, I'm Nam.
I'm Tim.
I'm Jason.
And I'm falling out of the frame. I'm Jeremy.
And today we're going to be talking about Android Netrunner the data pack called A Study in Static.
Spoiler.
Is it the worst data pack ever made?
Yes.
Yes. yes. Spoiler.
Whoa. I thought you were going to play defense for that.
You guys can.
That's pretty much it.
You guys can play defense for this pack.
Jeremy's
I'm coming. I'm scoring some touchdowns on this one.
like a whimper, a baton, or something. I'm opening up straw.
Where do we want to start?
So offense. We're going to start.
All right. Well, let's do this. How about this? For the defense, I'm going to give an injury to your best player. I'm going to take oversight AI.
Oh,
and I'm going to hold it over here. Now defend it.
Joe Montana. All right.
Your sack leader is out.
Everybody uses green level clearance.
Everybody does.
Okay, let's pull out what things people use. All right, so we got green level clearance in this pack.
Yep.
We got oversight AI. We got Apple government contracts.
Sure,
We're imagining we're in a world where Study Static just came out, right?
Yeah.
Well, then I'll pull false lead over here.
The false lead was a good neutral 3-1 at the time. Yes.
And
I mean, Deus Ex. It was
Okay.
situational,
that's pretty
but
good,
people often
Okay.
play one or two ofs.
Especially with self-modifying code existing after the fact.
do we want to talk about these first, or do we want to talk about?
No, we need to save the players for last, or sprinkle them throughout.
Okay.
You can't.
Well, I'm going to set
You
these
want
over
people
here.
to tune out immediately.
We don't want them to splooge all over the data pack.
Let's start off on a decent foot, though. Let's start with the middleweight fighters. What I've pulled is the pimp punchers, or first of all, the two criminal cards. We have Crescentus, which is trash, deres a piece of ice, uses ability only after breaking all of the subroutines of that ice during a single encounter. And then we have Doppelganger. It's a hardware console, +1 memory. Once per turn, you may immediately make another run when a successful run ends. Here's the thing with Doppelganger. Outside of edge cases, Desperado's always better.
The thing I like this for a little better, again, edge case.
Yes.
But an edge case I've used. For a while, there wasn't really any card draw. And at this time, I don't believe there was any card draw that was native to Criminal. So I actually imported Wildside into Criminal, and then used Doppelganger to get the click back.
Oh.
And
Interesting.
Edge case. It is an edge case.
Yeah.
No, admittedly an edge case.
If Desperado had not come out with the core set, that's a really cool effect, and that'd be the Criminals console we use. The thing is, though, Desperado is such a universal, across-the-board effect that it's just always going to be better.
Right.
We're always it's the same amount of memory, it's the same cost. So at that point, they're the exact same. So then you look at the effect. That's a cool effect. It's really neat. You can do it with notoriety. You can do some data sucker stuff. But one money. In the faction that runs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that builds up over time.
Yeah.
Well, and people will import Desperado into Shaper
other decks,
all the time, into Criminal, and into Anarch occasionally.
They definitely imported into Criminal.
Sorry, into Anarch occasionally. The other edge case worth mentioning is notoriety.
There's a reason why I choose Desperado over Doppelganger pretty much all the time. Like, I'm going to be running anyway. Getting an extra run isn't really going to be that big a punch, but getting that credit is always going to be useful, because, like, you know, all the cards, all the breakers, you need credits. Whereas if you don't have the resources to run, having that extra one doesn't really get you anything.
Exactly. Desperado, you're guaranteed to get the bonus. There, you might not be able to take advantage of the bonus, especially late game.
The MU is the same. The influences. Well, this is 2 influence instead of 3, but
One other thing worth mentioning, and unfortunately, it's a knock once per turn.
And immediately, too. So you can't run emergency shutdown and use it to hit a server.
It's once per turn. You get 1 extra run. If you make 4 successful runs with Desperado, you just made 4 credits.
exactly. Yeah.
This is once per turn.
The fact that professional contacts is a resource rather than a program makes it enticing. However, pure effect, I'd rather have Magnum Opus with the 2 credits per click than the click in the card. And I'll do the cards on my own. For this is 2 runs versus a run and a credit. That is one mix I want. I want that mix. This is it's too much. It's not always applicable. And here's the thing: it's a good card. It's just so outclassed that when you're using it, it feels like you're forcing it in.
All right. So next we got Crescentus, which is trash, deres a piece of ice after you've broken all the subroutines during a single encounter.
It's a program.
It's a program.
Note that.
Yes.
With 1 MU.
1 MU. So it is not an emergency shutdown. But where I've used it is in a kit deck, actually, which in Creation and Control. So you're hitting the first ice, repeatedly deresing it, and since you're using the Shaper recursion, you can just keep deresing every piece of ice you touch, essentially once per turn anyway. Outside of that, have you guys used it kind of for other?
I've mainly used it in a Real deck, Real kit deck.
Yeah.
I've used it in criminal decks just because no influence and
the only, to be perfectly honest, the only other time I feel it's potent is sometimes I threw it in a few criminal decks, and the The only time it really worked for me was when I was playing HB, and it was great to use
click,
clicks
click
to get rid of it and then kill it. And that's a nice trick, especially something like Ichi.
Yeah.
Right.
And it works really nice against that.
Yeah.
Well, and if you can use some other one-time quick breakers, if you can fairy through something or sharpshooter through something.
See, I haven't used it since Fairy, so
I haven't.
Yeah.
Well, I've used it with fairy, but I haven't used it since sharpshooter. But I've used this with fairy, and it can be nice to fairy through an archer for 4 and then de-res it.
But the fact
I've
is
done that
that
once.
again, compared to emergency shutdown.
Yeah.
Emergency
Shutdown
shutdown
is just
is
better.
It's just better. You use it when you use it when you want to, and for a while there, emergency shutdown wasn't as good because people started to buff up their HQ protection to block the account siphons, to block the emergency shutdowns, and also people started playing Andromeda instead of Gabe. But nowadays, even though Corp has taken a swing back, it's still you protect your R&D for your HQ. How often do you guys just go,
interface,
you know what, I'm going to let it run.
Yeah.
You got to let it ride. In that case, emergency shutdown just gets potent again.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're always going to want, I feel like you're always going to want emergency shutdown over Crescentus.
Okay, so the one thing that I think about the use of Crescentus, right? When this day pack came out, there wasn't that much stuff. But now there's a lot of other things that actually breaks all of the subroutines on an ice for something. And if you're going to either use your whole turn through with clicks or trash a program like Fairy or Sharpshooter, whatever, any of those other ones. If you're going to get rid of something, you might as well get rid of it. So, I mean, I can actually see more use for this now than I did prior.
The one nice use for this, and why I was including it over emergency shutdown, was when people were really, really icing HQ excessively. You didn't need a sneak door. I'll just run R&D and then use this to shut something down in R&D and run it again. That it was nice for, but that was a real limited window, and that was a big deal. R&D lock is a huge thing. R&D is really one of the more vulnerable targets. It seems to be staying that way now, so I really don't see a place for this over that anymore.
If you have a turn, though, that is going to be very click intensive, it does save you a click over emergency shutdown. So if that...
But it also costs the credit. So if you're not using economy cards, it's the same thing.
But it allows you...
If you're running Desperado...
It lets you pre-stack.
There you go! Then that's the one credit for that.
Another shot against Doppelganger.
Sorry, Doppelganger, yeah. Although, you could say that they have synergy because you're saving clicks twice if you're shutting down and Doppelganger.
You just gotta afford it.
You just gotta not take your Desperado
and
credits.
afford the memory as well. It's not just that.
That's right.
There's a lot of costs there.
Very true.
So if you're running Magnum Open... sorry, you can't.
Too much MU.
Bunch of data suckers? I could... No, you can't.
There's no good.
If you reduce it to 0, it doesn't do anything.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Okay,
alright.
I used to use this in NBN. This is Aurora Boris, one of the snake ice, as they called it, the snake tracers.
Did you just say snake ice? So Snice?
It's very nice.
Very
I just did it.
Alright, go ahead, sir.
I feel dirty.
So, this is 6 to res Sentry. Aurora Boris, 6 to res, 4 strength Sentry, Tracer. 2 subroutines. First one, Trace 4. If successful, the runner cannot make another run this turn. Trace 4, if successful, end the run. Trace 4s with making news' identity. This was one of the first sentries that actually punched a little in NBN without importing it for influence. So I played this for a while in NBN. And then I had a little kick with Replicating Perfection, where this really went in Replicating Perfection. And I loved it there. I don't think I've played this in 8 months.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Man, that card just died. Because, well, here's the thing. I'll throw these out here.
Yeah.
First of all, hey, that's a cool effect, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Hey, that's a real expensive ice, isn't it?
Yeah, it kind of is.
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you got that emergency shutdown. Raise your hand again if you didn't re-res it when they went to it again.
Yeah.
That's
Where's your hand raising, Tim?
I just looked depressed. I wanted this ice to be good
hard.
so
I
badly.
mean, I like it, and it's really cool. I love that first effect. It's so neat. But
But I mean, also, if you take a look, right, like 4 isn't really, it's the same strength as an HE. I mean, people are going to be prepared for...
Mimic, I guess.
Yeah, people are going to be prepared for 4 strength.
But the thing is, though, also with this is, yes, I mean, for a Sentry, yes, the effect is strong. However, it's also one of those attacking cards that if they hit it and they don't have a way to deal with it, it's not the end of the world. They're like, okay, well, I can't run. I'm just going to do some economy stuff and I'll be ready for it next turn.
Yeah,
and they handle it.
Yeah, the experienced player will be able to deal with it because if they don't break it, because they're traces. It's not like they're gonna always stay.
Yeah, and strength 4 isn't big enough.
I contend I've actually seen situations where that helps the inexperienced player. Because Because the inexperienced player goes, first 3 clicks, build up, 4th click, run.
Yeah.
First 3 clicks, build up, 4th click, run. This makes them stop, build up, and then they run on their first click the next turn and realize, oh wait, running early is good.
Wait. Are you accusing my playstyle? Are you calling me a noob?
Yep. I mean,
No, that's not what I meant.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean, I don't do that every turn.
But that is something you learn. If you can run early and save the build-up stuff later, you know?
And trying to get this to work in replicating perfection, when this came out, Jinteki had no economy yit.
Yeah.
And so it was just way too expensive.
it was too expensive for
Right.
them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the final, what I consider a puncher. I'm going to hand this over to Nam.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah. Let Nam take it.
Okay. So this
I'm
card
gonna put my hands on this one.
is called Underworld Contact. It's a runner resource, and when your turn begins, you gain a credit if you have at least 2 link. So there's a lot of runners that already start off with 1 link, so getting that other one isn't really that big a deal, especially if you're in Shaper, you have the rabbit holes, but then you have all those neutral, like, Dyson mem chips, or, Dyson mem chips.
Yes.
You get those as well, and then there's a bunch of, like, resources that nobody ever uses. But anyways, I have used this a lot when it first came out. I put this in Shaper, I put it in Kate, and I would just get 3 credits all the time. After a while of playing it, I basically realized that it's really inefficient use of deck space that depends on other deck space, and it was just more efficient to just take it out and put something else in.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's the biggest thing with this card, in my opinion. If you're playing a deck that is going to put in Link, it's worth throwing in.
Yes.
The problem with this card is a trap. You look at it and you're like, oh, it's going to be money. All right, well, I need that. It's even worse for a 1-link runner, because you're like, I only got one to go, so I'm going to put in some cards with Link you normally wouldn't put in. And you're putting these other cards in just to support this.
Yeah.
Like, I saw people putting in dice and mem chips that didn't need the memory.
Right. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
So you need, what, 4 turns? No. You need...
Click
6 turns to make a profit!
Yep.
Yes.
Even access to Global Sec, the 1-cost resource
Yes.
that basically nobody plays,
Yeah.
would give 1 link. So this costs 2, that costs 1,
And 2 clicks.
and 2 clicks, and 2 cards, 3 money. Even to make the money back, you need 4 turns. It's slow. The thing that gets me, and one of the themes that we touched on Genesis Cycle, they wanted to make traces big. They wanted to make Link big. The traces have been some significant part, but I've never seen Link take off. Nobody's really bought into Link big.
I
The
agree.
hurdle's just a little too much.
The
and
irony
so-
being the card I think that most makes you want to run Link is not from Genesis.
Oddly enough, true.
Oh yes.
If the Cloud Breakers had been a little better, I think Link would have mattered, but
If Creeper wasn't
if Creeper wasn't
was a
such a
pile of garbage.
things would have
Yeah.
been very different. But
Like, I mean, we only run Zool, and, you know, in the deck that I was playing, it already ran Link because of Zool, so I threw this in.
yeah.
Well,
But even
I mean-
playing with that, it just didn't.
Well,
didn't work.
Zool works on its own in
Yeah.
some decks
I
because it's sort
imported-
of cheap.
yeah.
And so this never really took foothold anywhere. So
It can do something if you're running Link.
Yeah.
You throw it in.
Right, if you're
The
doing
problem
it-
is it's a trap.
I don't think it's necessarily a trap if you just understand. I don't depend on it for economy.
Right.
Like, you
If
just
it's
can't
a nice
do that.
bonus.
Think of it as icing on a cake.
I'm going to push the 1 out of 10s over here. Let's talk about the 2 out of 10s here.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, this one is its own special spot at 0. Because I feel like... Alright,
Okay.
okay.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, everyone reach in now and pick the worst card you see.
Well, mine is one of those, so... Well, hold on. If I have to grab something else... Oh, no, I have a special experience with this guy.
We'll start with Nom. The biggest trap of all.
The biggest trap of all! Bullfrog!
for the corp.
Okay, it's a Corp Jinteki Ice.
But what if you put a whirlpool?
It's a 3 cost, 4 strength, code gate. First of all, it has a type, so it could be broken. Second of all, it has 1 subroutine. You and the runner secretly spend 0, 1, or 2, so automatically there's a 33% chance it will literally do nothing. But here's the thing, if you and the runner spend a different number of credits, move Bullfrog so that is the outermost piece of ice protecting another server, and the runner continues the run from this new position on the new server. Remember how I talked about the, the Jinteki spin cycle ice combo? This was part of that combo as well. I would go Whirlpool, some ice maybe if they couldn't break it, or Bullfrog, and then you'd lead them to the correct server that I had lined up. But ultimately, what Jeremy said still stands. If orders matters ice, has to be put in a certain order, and you can never get them or pay for them or protect everything else in the interim.
Or pay for that and not have enough money for the Psi. Incredible Machine.
Yes, I love the Incredible
Create
Machine.
Rube Goldberg devices. Now, in the early levels, we're nerdy guys. So in the early levels, we're like, okay, there's an easy way to do this, but I can do it awesome. And you start building it awesome, and then it doesn't work. And the first thing you go, it goes blah, 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 and you're like, I thought that would work. I can make this work. And then you try it, and then you punt and go to the simple way and go, just work. That's that card.
Yes. So that's my special experience with Bullfrog. I don't feel like it's worth it.
It's a cool effect, just you can't do it.
Maybe with the Jinteki box coming out, people might play it. It gains you a credit.
Even with the side.
But you have to use deck space for it, and there's other stuff that you just rather put.
And unless you combo it with Whirlpool, if they're scared,
that's right.
They jack out.
Yeah, they can just jack out. It's not a big deal, so there's really not much here. It's a very fragile combo.
So my cream of the crop for this pack is Tyrant, which can only be advanced when it's rezzed, and gains End the Run for each advancement token on it. So whenever I play a Corp and I see Tyrant, I know I'm going to win. Because it means the person on the other side has made some poor decisions.
You killed Jeremy.
So as we pick Jeremy up off the floor.
I'm back. Okay. So you're paying 7 credits for the first time to do nothing. Unless you put it in front of an Amazon industrial zone or something wild and janky.
In which case, they'll know it's coming and they can run through it when there's nothing.
Yes. You drain the corp with 7 credits, you get right on through, and then after they've spent 2 full turns advancing it, it's almost as good as Hadrian's Wall.
No, it's way worse. I can tell you the story. The story went like this. I put that in a deck, and I'm going to make it work. It's bad, I know it's bad, but I'm going to make it work. This deck, it's not going to be great, but I'm going to make it work. And I'm playing this guy right here. Now granted, this case is an edge case, so this isn't always going to happen, but it sums up this card.
Hubris!
I get it out there. I advance it. I get 6 advancement counters on there. Yeah! Get through that with your corroder! And then he goes like this. Draw. I'm sorry. And plays Morningstar. And I realize, oh my god, that's 1 credit. I just spent how much money and how many clicks and how many...
7, 13...
And he goes...
Plus 6 clicks?
6, 7 clicks
run on R&D.
play.
For the play.
No, run on R&D, 1 credit. A government contract. Run on R&D, 1 credit. A false lead. It was like, what is going on?
Oh my god.
It was bad.
To your point, it's only 4 strength. It's only 4 strength. Like, unless you corporate troubleshoot, and it doesn't even hurt the runner if you corporate troubleshooter it. It's just gonna end the run. It's like, oh, you know, you're not gonna waste your corporate troubleshooter on that. So I mean, why? It's a barrier. It's like one of the most common things that people will throw something out there early for anyway, just to get through littler things.
My piece of crap board is Disruptor. Now, we have to tell the story about Disruptor. Nam was looking through his collection to pull out this card for today. Disruptor, right? He looked through basically all of his decks twice.
Okay, so first,
all his cards, right?
I don't look through any of my decks because I know I wouldn't have rubber on that. Number one.
Right, yeah.
Number 2, I keep my stacks of cards pretty meticulously, you know, so I looked in the Anarch section, but I looked in the Anarch section like 3 times in alphabetical order by card type where it should have been. I'm like, where the hell's this card? Then I do have this miscellaneous pile. I look through that too. I'm like, where the hell is this card? So
he looked through his decks. He finally noticed it.
I did not look through my decks.
He finally noticed it because he had a little piece of paper in front of it that said Data Sucker on it. He used this as a backer for a proxy of Data Sucker because he knew he would never use it.
And it matches cost and MU. But if you're comparing that to Data Sucker, Data Sucker wins.
Wait. I just want to check something. Oh no, same influence. I was going to say, he's more influence.
It is a 1-cost, 1 MU program. Trash it to prevent a trace. That trace initiates again with a base trace strength of 0. That means, and there was some FAQ that kind of clarified this, you need to trash this before the corpse spends any money on the trace. That's when you need to spend it. You cannot wait until they spend extra money on it. So you're not going to cheat them out of any money they might spend. You would knock whatever the number is down to 0 and then they can spend it up. And it crashes, so then it's gone. It took up an MU in the first place, and you had to draw it and install it for 1 to be able to use it, and that's if they trace you. And many corp archetypes don't trace you. And if they do, just Make more money. Don't waste the time and deck space drawing it, installing it, and keeping it out of programs. This, to me, is one of the worst runner cards ever printed for any Netrunner yet.
Just before, as a quick question here, what is the highest typical number of a base trace that you typically see on Corp cards? Like 4 or 5, right?
At this point, 3.
3.
Now, 5s and 6s.
Now 5s and 6s, but there's only a couple.
Yeah.
I know, but those are the big ones.
Now they're the big ones. Now worth mentioning now, we have Punitive Counterstrike, Trace 5 to do damage equal to the number of agenda points stolen. We had mid-seasons, Trace 6, give the runner the number of tags equal to the number it exceeded
really
by.
matters because the exceed.
And that one really matters because it gives them lots of extra tags. So those cards exist and they are used, not in all NBN and not in all Wayland, but in a fair amount of them. And still, it's not worth the situation of deck space. Nobody uses it.
I've seen that card hit the table.
Okay.
I've seen that card hit the table. I've seen that card hit the table.
Oh, I've played with
same
Tyrants.
player, right?
I've played with Tyrants.
Different players. You know what I've never seen hit the table? This card. And you know what? What's your favorite oxymoron? There's always military intelligence. Right? This card is named Force of Nature! There's nothing Force of Nature about it! It's got a giant lightning bolt on it!
Do you remember Force of Nature in Magic? 8-cost creature, giant card, trample, 8/8, massive creature.
8/8 trample costs 3 green and
5 colorless.
Something.
Force of Nature costs a lot, right?
Yeah.
Well, this costs a lot.
Go on. Continue.
How about this? I got one for you. Strength. Wait, it's a strength 1. Okay, wait, no. Maybe there has to be something else. There has to be something else. 2 credits to break up to 2 code gate subroutines. You're not blowing wind up my skirt here. And then 1 credit for +1 strength. Hey, 1 credit for +1 strength.
That's it.
There's no extra. In fact, this is 5 credits. This is 5 credits in the faction that has Yogg!
Exactly.
With data suckers in faction.
Data suckers in faction.
This is
Why?
so bad. Leviathan is better than this.
And that sings.
I'll say it again. Leviathan is better than this.
And I know they want to emphasize for flavor that Anarchs are the worst at breaking code gates. But the weird thing is, they have Yogg, which is amazing.
Barriers are the thing. Got it.
Barriers are the thing.
It's oh my gosh. Well, actually, while we're going though,
Whoa. The picture is cool. That's pretty
Flavor
much
text.
it.
That's what makes me mad even more.
Yes.
Why waste good art? Put it on something
like
cool.
Swedish and Techie Ice or something.
Put it on efficiency committee.
Instead of Pompadour.
Instead of the downward
Make a new card that's just called Panda. Put it in anything.
That, in my opinion, is the second worst card in the game.
First one being
salvage.
All right.
Man, if you make Tyrant look good, damn.
So hold on, before we move on. So talking about these 4, which 4 would you say is the least worst?
Which of those 4 is the best?
The most playable?
Yeah, which one's the most playable?
Tyrant.
Tyrant is the
Tyrant
most
is the
playable.
most playable,
And
yes.
it's horrible.
Yes, and it's still bad.
If they had made Disruptor a virus, would it have
Disruptor
worked
was a virus? Ah.
I mean, it's not a virus.
That is
but-
something.
That is something.
No, you make Disruptor a virus, that's playable.
Yeah.
Because in mill,
Because then you play it, and then you can trash it for whatever.
1-cost viruses are rare.
Wait.
1-cost viruses are
1-cost
rare.
virus, 1 memory.
And you
Because
can trash that
pretty
out.
1
standard.
memory, trash or virus token
Oh,
to
okay.
use it, and then have some weird
And
thing
then
where I
it-
think
and
virus
then it
token.
might
Yeah.
stay
But you
in
can
play.
do it with a Grimoire.
Yeah.
And get one
That
and
would've
use
been
one.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, I've also said with this one, if it costs 0, maybe. If it was a resource, maybe. Especially
Yeah.
like punitive, and it's just piles up.
Aesop
But
food?
If it costs zero. If it costs zero.
If it costs
Or if
zero,
it was a
it's not-
virus. Or if it
Yeah.
was a
It
virus.
was a virus.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is a virus.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought of that before. That's
That's
a
pretty
good
good.
point.
As an alt, yeah, as an
But that just makes my case even more. The Force of Nature sucks.
in its original form, you would just replace it with an economy card.
Disruptor
That's it. So,
at minimum, yes.
Yeah. So.
Okay. We mentioned Tyrant was the best of those worst 4. Here's a deck, here's an identity that I think plays to it. It is Because We Built It, Wayland Consortium Alternate Identity. It's 1 recurring credit, and you may use this credit to advance ice, and it is a standard 45 card deck size, 15 influence. So you get 1 credit you can spend with an action to advance something. I wanted to see if you could make Tyrant and Woodcutter and other of those ice to work. I wanted to see if you could make the card that lets you gain money equal to the number of advancement counters on Vice Valaris work. So I built a deck with this identity, with Amazon Industrial and Amazon Industrial Zone the upgrade, and then you could advance it before they could do anything. I did that. I set the whole deck up to do it, had lots of cards. It was fun for a little while. I think I won once out of 10 to 15 games with it. It just costs so much money and so much of your time. By the time you could really get a big tyrant up, they'd parasite it, or they wouldn't matter, and you would be building up agendas in hand that they would steal, or they would get through other servers and just ream you and steal all your agendas. I never made it work. I had fun with it, but the original Wayland identity to gain 1 money for every transaction is just so much better.
Instead of looking directly at what the card does, how about looking at it from 2 other ways? This is the way I look at this card. Why is criminal good? Give me 1 word. Why is criminal good?
Run.
Money.
Fast.
Fast. Okay, sure.
Speed.
Yes.
Speed.
This card
Is-
says, slow it down. Guys, just let's slow it down. In fact, here's Amazon Industrial Zone and Tyrant and Woodcutter. Hey, look, we're in the faction that has Scorched Earth combos, which are fast kills. Those are speedy kills. Those are smash the runner in the face. This is a combo, so you need all these pieces to work together, and it's a slow combo. Any card game player ever. What's good? Slow combos.
Oh, Slombo.
The more I talk about this pack, the more I'm like, there's so many traps in there. Because you think, oh, I could do this and this.
I could make that
No, you
work.
can't.
Yeah.
No, you
It's,
can't.
yeah. So you only have 1 recurring credit to advance the ice. You still have to use a click to do it.
Right.
Well, okay, what if this said advance an ice with this credit, but without using your click?
Or
this becomes playable, right?
Or
Playable.
when you do something else. When you do,
right, yeah.
when you install a piece of ice, you can advance
it. Well, yeah,
You can
right.
advance
That
for
would
free.
be cool.
Something like that. It's slow.
Taking up that click, I think, is just a huge deterrent.
Well, it's the nail in
Yeah.
the coffin to it.
Pretty
It
much,
really
yeah.
is.
There is another card in this pack that I've never seen played. Have you guys ever seen anyone play Net Police?
No.
What does it do?
So that's a zombie case.
There you go.
Case closed.
That's all you need.
Net Police, asset, costs 1 to install, 1 to trash, which is just all kinds of
Yeah,
silent.
whatever.
It's X recurring credits. Use these credits during traces. X is the number of links the runner has.
So it cancels out link, but only for 1 trace
Yes.
that turn.
And
Yes.
only until they trash it.
yes.
And if it matters, they trash it for 1.
And it's a
That's
one-
what it comes down to.
And it's a 1 trash cost thing that's hard to defend. And as we mentioned when we talked about Underworld Contact, Link never became a big thing.
Yeah.
No one ever needed to use this.
Right.
There were very few runners, even runners that focused on Link, that would ever go above 4 Link ever.
I got
Most-
9 once, but that was a novelty deck.
And think about it this way, right? How many times would the link, how many times would your trace, most of the time in NBN, you'd just be giving them a tag anyway, right? So why not just run like Ghost Branch, which is free, trash is, 0, but you advance it and
Right.
you could bluff agenda.
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of things, yeah.
And there's not much to say about it, and here's the thing. I could see it having use.
Yeah.
In reality, it belongs to those other 4 over there. I just, no one grabbed
If
it.
Link had taken off for some reason,
If Link had taken off,
If-
that might have a use,
if a
especially if you
cloud
wanted to... yeah.
barrier breaker comes out.
I don't think it's as bad as those 4. I feel like really corner cases.
You'll see one of those cards being played regularly more than you see that.
Yeah, I don't-
before
yeah.
you see that played. You're just never going to see it. Could it have its use? Yes.
Yeah.
I can imagine a world where it's a decent card, so it's not as bad as those. Because them doing their purpose, they're bad at it.
Yeah, this.
Doing its purpose, it could do it well. It's just never going to have that purpose.
Right, exactly. You might as well just put, as I said, another economy card to replace it.
Right.
Yes.
And you just get the
Yeah,
chase from your way.
and as the card pool grows,
It becomes-
you have trouble fitting the good stuff in.
Right.
You're not going to
Well,
look this low.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm grabbing too many of these, but I have a set of this. I have a set of this. Next card is Scrubber, so maybe it'll help you understand. Okay, I have a question for you. If you're playing Gabe, would you play a resource that gave you 2 extra credits per HQ run?
I sure would.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. If you were playing Andromeda, would you play a card that let you play like an extra event per turn?
Yeah,
you have a bunch of
definitely.
events? Yeah, you would. If you were playing Noise, would you play a card that let you mill an extra card?
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what runner would you... Oh, if you're playing Riel, would you want the second ice you see to be a code gate?
Definitely.
Okay.
Sure.
Expanding on the runner, usually pretty cool. You know who you don't need to expand on? Wizard. This is just an extension of Wizard, and it costs 2. It costs 2 for 2 reoccurring credits, 2 trash cards.
It lets other people pretend to be wizards.
Yeah.
It lets
lets you-
other people get his ability.
The only time I've seen this played is in Wizard decks.
Really?
Interesting.
Wow, I don't
I've
know.
never seen that played.
I've seen it in other not
Yeah, I've
wizard
seen it.
decks.
Yeah, I've seen it in
Elsewhere.
Criminal. I've seen it in Noise.
You seen this in Criminal?
Yeah.
I've seen it
Same.
in Noise, definitely.
Jackson Howard exists.
Yeah.
I've seen it in...
I don't think it should be there.
No,
but I've seen it.
but
Yeah.
an argument could be made.
Okay, alright. Well, I don't think it's horrible.
It kind of pays for itself. Well, it does pay for itself money-wise the first time you use it.
No. Because the first time you use it is installing it. It's not like you
I
can
said
install
money.
it.
I said money-wise.
Okay.
Second, third use, you're starting to get it back. But how many assets do you really trash? Okay, or how many upgrades do you really trash? It's one or the other. It can do either. It is to trash cards.
I think Scrubber is way more powerful than Imp. I mean, you don't need Virus. Trashing anything, whatever. I'm trashing what I need to with this. This doesn't go away. Imp goes away.
Limited quantities, you know?
Imp is such a limited focus card.
Right.
This
Anyone who may not have picked up the piles of steaming sarcasm.
Are the piles brown?
In this pack, they are. Imp is an amazing general purpose card.
I wasn't being sarcastic.
This
I love this.
is very narrow. So
All
that's Scrubber.
Okay.
So, yes.
Let's see. Here.
Scrubbed.
Someone picking up.
Okay.
so
So I want to pick
Man.
something I've used.
Hourglass.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
actually,
I've used Hourglass.
Yes.
Okay.
I liked Hourglass in Replicating Perfection again.
We are both fans of replicating perfection.
Yeah, we both. So this was another one. Okay, Code Gate 4 strength, so out of Yogg reach without help. And it has 3 subroutines, none of which stop the runner. They all say the runner loses 1 click if able. So the first time this goes off, you cost them a couple clicks, and they can't run another remote. If you don't have another easy-to-run central, maybe they're forced to run this last click to get into R&D, and they don't get anywhere else. But they always get through it. And if they run last click, they get through it for nothing, effectively. So even in Replicating Perfection, there are 3 centrals. Even if you have HQ and R&D locked up, if they really want to get a remote, they'll just run Archives easy and go get the remote. I had it in there for a while. 5 is a pretty expensive ice, and that's what kills it.
Jinteki at the time.
And Jinteki at the time had problems with money.
How much
Is the influence
Wait, that's only one.
It's only one influence.
It's 2 influence.
no,
No, it's 2.
It's 2
Oh.
influence.
Wait, so I'm playing Replicating Perfection. I want to punish them on the first ones so they get the outside. That R&D, that's horrible, right? Okay. So you put it on Archive or HQ. Neural Catan is 4.
Yep, and Neurocaton is in faction and better.
I hate this card. I hate this card.
This was another
I
one
hate
that
this card.
I
It is
wanted
a
so
code
bad
gate.
to work.
Yes.
Okay, the one
And it
thing
just never did.
I use this differently than you guys because I haven't yet made a successful Replicating Perfection deck. I brought this into HB.
Well, it's an HB native card.
I know. But what I'm saying is I
so
put it in
rare.
HB and I put it on the outside of, you know, whatever servers.
An Eli.
Part 2. It's positional ice.
It's
Yeah,
no
You
positional
don't
ice.
think it is,
Yes.
but it is.
It is.
Yes.
That's number 1. Or number 2, you can put it really close. Make sure that you put your chum outside of it. Because then they're forced to break them all unless they want the 3
Yes,
damage.
and that's still
Then again, it is still
positional.
positional. So
Much of HB's ice, you can click to get through the subroutines. So if this is on the outside of a server with lots of Bioroid ice that they could normally click through, you took away their clicks.
So it's positional supporter
But
for
it
5 credit.
It never really cut it. I haven't played with this in a long
Yeah.
I haven't put it in a
If
deck
it were-
if that means anything.
3 credits?
Maybe.
Now,
Yeah.
I will say this. I did try with it. No one can say I didn't try with that. But the more I used it, the more I hated it. And every time you draw that in your opening hand, you're like,
yeah.
screw you, Hourglass.
Yeah, that's true. Every time I drew that, it was always a struggle where it's like, oh, I gotta leave this in hand. And then it would just be a dead card in hand where you might as well have something else. Pick one.
I don't want to talk about dedicated server because it's so
Alright.
boring. So we'll go with All Nighter. All Nighter is.
Wait, you think All Night is less boring than Dedicated Server?
I had a deck that
Hey.
was built around All Nighter. And if it had worked that one time, guys, it would have been awesome. So I promise you, take a walk with me here.
No, he's taking a walk by himself.
I'm strolling down memory lane.
So first of all Nighter
Yes.
is a 0 cost resource. Spend a click and trash it to gain 2 clicks. So it's essentially banking clicks for your next turns. The idea I had, being the wily gentleman I am,
Whoa.
was
He's wily.
He is a gentleman.
I'm not sure about the gentleman. Oh,
Like a coyote he is.
okay, what if I get 3 all-nighters in play?
Yeah.
And I have a medium in play that maybe has a couple counters on it.
Really
And then
cool.
I have Doppelganger. And then I hit R&D like 5-6 times in one turn.
That'd be really cool.
Really cool.
Did it work?
Cool.
No. No, it never... Because you would play all-nighter and the core would go, huh. And then they would proceed to do exactly what they were going to do.
You really put them on their heels.
Yes.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yes.
So you know how in like Corporation we were talking about positional ice? This is kind of like positional stuff for the runner.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you
You
had to
have-
have a bunch of pieces in
Right.
play before you could do running.
No, here, wait. Let me read. I think you read the card wrong. 0 cost resource, all-nighter. If you have space in your deck you need to fill, this can do it.
42 cards, what do I do?
What? Wait, there is one edge case?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Notoriety.
Notoriety.
There's someone in our league has been using
And
this.
yet again,
Oh,
notoriety.
Pretty good effect, I would
Oh
say.
man,
Yes.
he's doing a really good job.
So, or, living the dream, score 2 all-nighters in a turn. Which
No, score
this
2
gentleman-
notoriety.
Notoriety, sorry. Score 2 notorieties here, which this gentleman has done to me.
Yes.
He has scored 2 notorieties on me in a turn using all-nighter.
Yeah,
What a punk.
Here's a question though.
Good job.
As you watched him play, he scored those 2 notorieties. As you watched him play, be honest. Did you think in your head, man, there's better things he could play there?
Yeah, because I won the game.
Oh, hey now!
That was going to be my next question.
It was cool. I applauded him for pulling it off.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
beautiful, and he just didn't get anywhere else, and I won.
Wait, I'm gonna hit the rewind button. Rewind.
Jeremy, why are you talking backwards forwards?
Hit play. It's an interesting effect, but man, it's just not gonna be worth it.
We're going to talk about Inside Man next.
Okay, we're
Mostly
getting into...
because I don't want to
these
also.
are-
I also don't want to pick the
I can take the hit. If you don't want to.
I played with this, so,
So Inside Man, I've also played with this. First of all, have we at least played all with this?
Yeah,
I've
we
seen
tried
it.
hardware.
So it's a resource. It's called Inside Man, and it has 2 recurring credits only to install hardware. Kate, she can have a lot of hardware. For example, with Replicator. So you can find lots of hardware, then you can use Inside Man for it. You save really big because it's not only just these, but then you get Kate's effect.
There was
You
a
could-
time when
right,
people
yeah.
wanted to make an economic engine and a draw engine off of Replicator. Draw up, install with the credits from this and Kate's credits, then ASOP it. You could
Yeah.
make a 3-cost hardware into an easy mark the next turn.
It's purely novelty, though.
It's purely novelty, though.
See,
So that was
Inside-
the thought. That was
Inside
the...
Man is a cool card,
Right.
but it's purely novelty. And here's the thing. Are you ready for this? I got an idea for a deck.
All right.
See if you guys see. I can sum up how powerful this card is. All with neutral cards. You ready? We're going to install an Inside Man, right? And I'm using Inside Man credits to install prepaid voice pads. And then I'm going to use all of those free reoccurring event credits to play none of the events because I didn't have any room left in my deck for events.
If you're like using neutral cards, I mean, there's only like one good neutral hardware anyway.
Yeah.
So
Dyson Mem chip. Then I can install my Underworld contact.
All coming together. Guys, we're giving away our world championship. My secret sauce is spoiled.
dude, shut up!
We're coming for you, Alex Frog.
I'm gonna have to cut that part out.
This, I definitely think, is a
No,
usable
it's
card.
usable card. It's
And
just
down the line, it could become
It's playable.
that much better.
But
It's-
hardware decks didn't turn out to be like the thing, and it wasn't as mature and ready as everybody hoped.
Not
They
yet.
aren't competitive yet. This costs a lot of money. You got to use it multiple times to get enough back.
get even.
To get even,
Yeah.
you need to use it at least 2 or 3 times.
I'd say 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably 3 with the drawing, the deck space, and installing
Yeah.
all that. So
That's how many of hardware you got to have in there, and then a lot of the good hardware is cheap.
Yeah.
Hakamatsu Mem chip. Say, oh, I'm playing Riel. I have some lock picks, but lock picks
Yeah.
1.
yeah,
Yeah.
so some of the only good, moderately expensive hardware would be like R&D interface.
I'm gonna. You know, what I'm
Yeah.
gonna, actually, you know, what I'm gonna use that on Toolbox. I'm bringing it back.
Toolbox.
Monolith.
Oh
my gosh, you cracked
it
the
opens. Yes. Oh my god, Monolith could be free with Eureka. 3 of these.
Somewhere, David Stone is saying excellent.
I didn't read them waste all their money on Inside Man.
Yeah, that's 9 money for Inside Man just to have in one turn.
6 credits to spend on.
You know what?
Oh my god.
That's a good lead-in, because I'm pretty sure this card was not designed by Damon, because I know he hates this card because it's a Jinteki card that's boring.
Hey. Don't you hate some of your own? No, never mind.
It's a Jinteki card that's boring. Do I hate a lot of my
That's about
creations?
what I say.
You've not read my writing, have you? Yeah, that's about right. Okay, dedicate server. Now, who's used this? I've used this.
Tried it briefly, didn't like it.
Try it. No, I ignored it.
Put it in a deck, got it out, never rested.
It's purely midline. It's boring because it does what it does it fine, but it doesn't win you games. It's not enough utility to do something. It's good in a really full horizontal thing, like you do an RP, heavy horizontal build.
Yeah.
And you throw them out there.
Well,
and
if you do a heavy horizontal build, usually you don't include much ice.
Yes.
So why would you need this to res the ice you're not installing?
It can help. I can think of 1 or 2 games where it helped my money flow, and the money flow was enough to help me win. This isn't the win, but it wasn't the win.
There are so many better economic options.
Yeah.
I think this wouldn't make the cut.
No, it doesn't make
I
the cut.
haven't
No,
Well, even then it didn't make the cut.
it's like Inside Man. It does what it does it well.
In fact, it's almost an exact analog for Inside.
It is.
Yeah,
it's
pretty
almost an
much.
exact analog.
Yeah.
The bonus of this is you're going to be using ice, whereas Inside Man, there's a chance you don't even draw the hardware that you
Right.
put in your deck for Inside Man.
No
So-
influence!
Oh, well, the nice part about it is it'll be reoccurring credits, and they're not going to trash that. They're not going to waste turns trashing it. As soon as the runner notices, oh, that's helping him with his money. Oh, that's, wow, I'm glad I spent all those money on that time on those dedicated servers, because
Now
One
they're all
bullet for
gone.
each trash cost that it takes. 3 to get rid of it.
And I believe, Jeremy, that you had an interesting deck that had dedicated servers and encrypted protocol that made the
Yeah.
trash cost higher,
yeah.
and it still didn't gain much traction.
That was a lot of deck space for not a lot of action, wasn't it? It was pretty cool.
Did you win?
I won once against the guy that showed up for the first time ever that night, and his deck wasn't that good.
Poor guy.
And it was still a close game. I got lucky. So, yeah, okay, you know, but there was, when I took out the encrypted protocol, I mean,
Yeah.
man, there's a card that I've tried to make work. And
Now wait, was that in a Jinteki deck or was that in a...
that was a Jinteki deck.
Okay, alright.
And to be fair, at the time, Jinteki was very struggling for cash, so any
Now-
Jinteki card that came out that said credit on it, I would put in my
You try it.
Here's the interesting thing about this card. I will say, if it was one less influence, it'd be more usable, because
In other decks.
I think this would be good in NBN.
I think it'd also be good in HB.
Yeah.
I think it'd be good in Big Ice HB.
Yeah.
I think it'd be good in NBN, because you get a low horizontal with NBN sometimes anyways.
Yeah.
And they're saving their money for like traces and stuff like
And
that.
sands, yeah.
Jinteki, one of those things where if you're playing smart, you're going to be running less anyways and try to pick your points. So you're like, all right, well, I'm just gonna, you know, it's you're not saving up your money. You're going to go, well, I'm going to kill that now. So they don't have money because they're low on money.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It exists.
The question is, do you think it would be too good at one influence? That's my
I
question.
don't think it would be.
See, yeah, I
No.
kind of agree with that. I think it would be playable and it would be more used in other deck archetypes.
But the
With
I still don't think it would be the great though. It'd
Yeah.
be,
It wouldn't be that
it'd be
great.
okay
the
once
three
in a
up
while,
front
but-
is
Okay, how about this? Are you ready for this? Ready for this?
Mhm.
Make this card playable. Make this card playable on a lot of things. One influence, and it's an upgrade that's 1 to trash.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sitting in your
you call it a
scoring server.
tower, right?
Yeah.
Akitaru?
You had me going.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
go on. That's an interesting idea.
And then it just becomes Akatara once and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it's
it's
just-
We both.
Yeah, we
we
did
both
that.
fell for this.
Well done, sir. Hats off. Hats off.
I thought I was gonna high five. Oh
yeah, yeah.
On to the things that
So-
actually see play.
Yes.
So we're
Yes.
going to go to the things that see play. Now, first I'm going to do this, because before we started the video, there was some defense being thrown around. I have one question. This is false lead. It's an agenda. 3 advancements, 1 agenda point. Forfeit false lead. The runner loses click, click if able. At the time, this was awesome because it's a neutral 3-cost agenda. Fast advance, it was good. Since Gila Hands and Profiteering and all the other 3-1 neutral agendas come out, have you seen this played once?
I've seen it
I
played
still
by these
see it.
gentlemen.
Yeah. I still see
I've
it.
seen it played by those gentlemen.
And it was used a couple times, actually, and it still has use. But the thing is, yeah, it's a lot. Like I would run Gila Hands
Yeah.
over this all the time. The only reason why I would run this is deliberately in HB prevent them from clicking through things. Because why wouldn't you just get Gila hands for economy.
I can think of two, but I'm thinking Tim's got one of them in mind. So go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, so I also had two. So first is my favorite. This is another ridiculous janky deck that I tried to make work. So maybe not the best example, but so Replicating Perfection, I've used it in combination with River Valley. River Valley essentially takes one of their, so they have to run the central, then they have to spend 2 to get through River Valley, but if you take 2 of their clicks, they can't. So usually I would use this in River Valley, and unfortunately it had to come out kind of in a sequence. I would use this to score a Nisei, and then use the Nisei to score a 5 for 3, and it had a decent win record when people weren't playing as criminals.
When it worked, it worked well,
yeah.
and it had it work against me at least twice.
Yeah.
So.
Now wait, Ruhr Valley, that's
HB
HB.
card.
HB.
So I would import
It's
that.
spelled R-U-H-R?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
alright.
And
It's
you have to
German.
spend an additional click to run that server. So
Yes. So
it's a way to ensure a score in a Replicating Perfection remote.
So Replicating Perfection remotes, even without Ruhr Valley,
Right,
sometimes
it makes
people will do something first click, run one of their central second click, and then you could deprive them of a run somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's the one use. The other use is in kill decks. Like if you make a second turn run, hit a snare, get the tag, and Wayland goes, your turn's over, Scorch, Scorch, die. That's the other thing where I've seen a use, but those to me are both relatively
I have one
minor
more
uses.
use. So if you are playing Personal Evolution, I should know because I play that sometimes. It's a 1-pointer. It'll take up more deck space as a damage. It works.
Are you ready for this?
All right.
Here's my case for this. You guys know I've played Netrunner a lot. I've played tons and tons of games of Netrunner.
We know this.
Ask me how many times this has been forfeited to make me not be able to get through HBIs.
How many times has it been?
0. How many times has it been forfeited to get a kill combo on me?
How many?
0.
How many times has it been kept you from going to Central Server?
0.
You haven't played him with that deck.
I haven't played him with that one. How many times have I forfeited this?
How many times have you forfeited, Jeremy?
Once. What was the end of that game?
6 points
You lost.
I was up 6-5. I lost 7-6.
Uh,
And here's the thing. I realize as the card pool grows, older cards are going to become
Yes.
weaker. I know that.
Yeah.
But this thing took a freaking dive off a cliff.
Yes.
And it's just... And considering that's one of our 5 good ones,
Yeah.
this is one of our
Yeah.
5 champions of justice? Okay, a study
Champions of mediocrity.
All right, government contract. We play with this a lot. We all play this in the
Yes, we've all played Wayland.
We play it because it's a 5-3 in Wayland, and a lot of times we want less agendas in Wayland. It's also a it's a nice money effect. Well, that's a nice money effect. In the one faction that usually doesn't need money that bad.
True
It's
that.
a good card, but man, is it not
So
good
it's a
card.
5-3, and if you score it as Corp, it's click, click, gain 4 credits. So it's double efficiency as far as money.
Also, this card is made of helium because it likes to float to the top of your deck. I got stuff going. What are the chances? I have agendas in my hand. I'm kind of screwed. What are the chances he's going to hit R&D and get something? Boom. Government contracts. Every time. Every time. It's made of helium. That is me just anecdotally, but
the other 3-5 also is
Yes.
made of helium as well.
not for me.
See,
It's not made of
that
helium.
happens for me as well. In the deck, I put 3 and 3.
Yeah.
They both float.
Now,
It's-
I like this also a lot now with the 5-3 archetype of Wayland that will not only use Scorched Earths, but used a lot of punitive counter-strikes. And then if you happen to score a cleaner first, maybe 4 damage worth with that punitive. I like the 5-3 archetype. This gives them some solid economy, and with punitive counter-strikes, you often need to be really far ahead. So even though Wayland's rich, getting richer can still help them.
I would
Decent-
contend though, if I'm doing 5-3s, chances are I'm doing a damage roll of some type.
yeah.
Chances are. I'd rather have cleaners and priority rec.
I'd like a mix of this in
It
Priority
depends,
Rec,
yeah.
though.
Yeah,
I like a
usually
mix.
throw
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of
If
these
you
in.
throw this
In a-
and priority rec, and then you're running
I-
the I'm going to win with agenda strategy, not the kill strategy.
I like
But-
the effect, but it again in practice, it just
The Wayland Glacier archetype. There's
Yeah.
been some
Yeah.
store championships won
Yeah,
by
certainly.
no kill, all out of 5-3s, huge servers.
Corporate troubleshooter.
This can be
powers
a
corporate
this-
troubleshooter really nicely.
So there is place for this.
Yeah.
It does still see play.
The masses are afraid.
I agree. It sees play. We use it a lot. I just think it's not as good as we picture it in our minds when we think, oh, government contract, that's a good card. It's okay.
but it's okay.
I use this ability for money
Yeah.
when I score it.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have 3 cards left,
I'm
and we're
still-
doing it's something.
I'm still willing to
We
say that
are.
this is good.
It's not great, but it is good.
But you have to fill the agenda space with something, and if you fill it with this and you
It's
score
the
it,
Yankees'
awesome.
second baseman.
Yeah. Okay. Not that I know anything about sports. What does that mean?
It means, and this is traditionally, he's a good player. I mean, he's on the Yankees and they can afford him. But he's pretty much the weakest player on the Yankees. So, He's starting, he's playing the games, but yeah.
We're getting into the cards that I would say regularly see play.
Regularly see play.
Wanna blow your mind, ready?
Yeah.
I don't like this card. I don't like Deus Ex. Deus Ex is a program icebreaker, trash to prevent any number of AP subroutines, trash to prevent any amount of net damage. Costs 3, and it's 10 strength. Here's the thing with this card. I've seen it used for the AP subroutines, what, once or twice, maybe?
I've barreled through a lot of Janus.
I saw it a lot, but against me, I never used it.
In my opinion, you use this card to protect against, you try to protect against the big Jinteki kill. Let's be honest, you need Plascrete to protect against Scorched Earth.
Right.
If you're playing Ping Jinteki, you don't mind a net shield.
Right.
This, you'd rather have this and to protect yourself against the big Jinteki kill, or would you rather have to rely on playing smart and have better cards other than this?
It lets you do a couple things. So it lets you not have to play smart against Jinteki. Jinteki doesn't have any really big over-advanced agendas you have to worry about. So it lets you just blast in one time.
I like this as a 1 or 2 of in a Shaper deck, especially if you can self-modify and code it out to break big AP ice, the Heimdalls, the Januses, in a pinch some of the others, or to blindly run into a trap or hit a snare-heavy R&D. So there are some uses, there's some utility, it does see some play in Shaper. Not the greatest card, but I like it.
I mean, only run into a trap that does net damage.
Right.
Net damage,
So, like,
right,
you
yes.
can't stop aggressive, you can't
Right.
stop Edge
Cerebral Overrider.
you can't
Yes.
stop Cerebral Overrider. You can't stop any of that.
Yeah.
So.
Just Project Junebug, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's
So-
Project Junebug.
Alright, so it's
So-
a very minor...
Yeah. It's a card I don't want to draw. I want it to just sit in my deck until I self-modify and code it like exactly when I want it. So usually, yeah, I'll throw 1 in there in a Shaper deck, especially like in a deck that's running really light on Icebreakers. Like I was using a Parasite Recursion deck that I use this when I can't Parasite something gigantic down.
Yeah,
So again, it's not a game-defining card, but it has its uses, I would say.
Naysay in 30 seconds. Go.
It's anti-Project Junebug, and that's it. If I'm playing smart, here's the thing. If I think it may be a Junebug, they have 3 counters, and I really need to check it, I'll drop to 6 and hit it. If they have 4, you know what? Good on you. You got it. If I run
Infiltration, as you mentioned.
that's the thing.
Yes.
Get rid of this. Give me Infiltration, and that's a neutral card from the core set that some people think is crap. It's crap until it's used against you, and it ruins all of your plans.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, well, still gets AP ice.
I think this is a crutch. I think people use it too often going, well, I got to protect against that, when they could be doing other things. I don't like the cost. I don't like the memory requirement. I mean, does it have its uses? Yes. Is it a great card? By no means.
Yes.
Oh, we might have to go quick because
Okay.
battery's flashing. So.
Ready?
So when we start, I'm just gonna say, hey,
We introduce
I'm not. Yeah, we introduce ourselves, and then we'll just start talking. All right.
All right.
Okay.
I know our next segment. Okay, ready?
Okay.
Edit point. I'm gonna.
Right.
And so I mean, it's But here's the thing with this. It's like again.
Wait, get close. Data packs.
My friend.
And that's something.
It's a solid.
I'm still willing to call it.
Especially for
I use that in.
I think
good. It's
I
not
would say
great.
most. Yes.
It
I-
still
excuse
works.
me.
A Jinteki, what's the first one called?
what?
Not toll booth. I said toll booth.
There's so many horrible.
dedicated server.
There's so many. There's so many horrible
Bullfrog.
cards in this pack.
I was gonna say.
There are so many horrible.
Please come
Wait,
on.
and I haven't even put Tyrant down.
So my cream of the crap is Tyrant.
Say that again for we don't burst out laughing.
Yeah, we'll probably. Oh man, there's gonna be so many bloopers. It'll be glorious.
All right.
Okay,
All right, guys. You gotta keep straight face when he does it again.
Well,
Okay.
you don't have to be completely straight faced, but
All right.
All right.
Okay. Hold on. I just gotta get it out. Hang on. Man, being slightly woozy does not help.